Today I want to talk about the Ocarina code handler system. Now, the previous segment I did an introduction to Wii RAM hacking using the USB Gecko. I love the device. I'd make Sweet Man love to this if I could. Really, a lot of respect and a lot of props going out to the USB Gecko guys. You know, Link, Nuke, Kenobi, all you guys. Really, thanks for the utilities. But enough ass kissing. Today we're going to get into the Ocarina code handler system. If you checked out my introduction to Wii RAM hacking, you might have gotten really interested in Wii RAM hacking, or if not hacking itself, but at least taking advantage of the codes that are created. Now, unfortunately, maybe you can't get a USB Gecko, maybe you can't afford a USB Gecko, or it just won't ship to your region. What Ocarina lets you do is it lets you use the codes that are created without a USB Gecko. Using a PC application, which I'll show you how to use in a minute. It's very straightforward. You can take the codes, you put them into the PC application, you save them to an SD card, and then either using the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess or the Homebrew channel, you load an Ocarina-capable piece of Homebrew. You can load Ocarina itself or the Gecko OS. In the latter, I prefer Gecko OS. It has a lot more features, and Ocarina is built right in, since Ocarina was built by the same guys. They've just been adding more and more features to Gecko OS. Expect more to come. So either way, do us all a favor. Do not taint the online gameplay with really lame and crappy hacks and cheats. It's really not about cheating online. It's really more about just exploring the games and bringing more to them. There's been some really cool things done with Super Smash Bros. And really cool things done with Mario Galaxy. Now, one of the disadvantages of actually running the Ocarina in comparison to a USB Gecko, Ocarina cannot handle more than 256 lines of code. Some of the hacks that have been created for Mario Galaxy are in excess of 130 lines of code. And, you know, also be careful loading too many hacks. You can crash and lock up the system. So, be forewarned. You can't do any permanent damage, but you'd be within arm's reach of the power button of your Wii when you're first getting a handle of dealing with any kind of RAM hacking whatsoever. Now, there is an online database as well as the USB Gecko forums. I'd always recommend going to both of those before actually pestering anyone for any kind of codes. There are a couple of people that have actually been hacking codes without a USB Gecko. They're just basing their codes off of other people's codes, and they're just building on top of what other people find. So if you are going to get into any kind of RAM hacking just using Ocarina, and you're going to base it off of someone else's findings, please give them credit. Because credit is due where credit served where credit due. You wouldn't like it if someone took your work, based something off of it, and tried to take full credit for it. So, with all of that said, let's get to the PC side. I'll show you how to go and find some codes. We'll use the PC utility, we'll put them on an SD card, and we'll do some cool shit with Mario Galaxy. Okay, of course the first thing you are going to need is the Ocarina utilities. So go to the USB Gecko forums, www.usbgecko.com/forums, and make your way into the Ocarina forum topics. And right in the beginning, right in the sticky, the Ocarina SD card Wii cheating application. Go ahead and download the latest version. This is created by Link. Now, once you do, you got to go and extract everything to your computer. Of course, I mean, you can't do this. You really shouldn't be operating a computer to begin with. You'll notice there are two folders: HBC, which has an Ocarina folder. Copy this to your homebrew, your homebrew channel apps folder. And then we have a PC application, the code manager, right here. Now, the first thing you want to do is start out with a nice blank slate. We need to punch in the game ID, the game name, and we've got to put in some comments and some codes and such. So you can actually head over to the USB Gecko code database. That's usbgecko.com/codes. and there'll be 3 sections in alphabetical order for NTSC United States, NTSC Japan, as well as PAL European. So of course we clicked S and we went to Super Mario Galaxy, and it tells us that the game ID is RMG E01. We're going to paste this into the game ID. We're going to name the game Super Mario Galaxy. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. It shouldn't be overly difficult for anyone. Now, there are some pretty cool codes here. Let's see, we've got the fly when spin move is used, throw a fireball when spin moved, infinite health, moon jump is pretty cool. Skeleton Mario is actually a pretty cool model hack, but if you notice, it's a really long code. Another really cool code is the Mario Transformation code, which allows you to manually cycle through Mario's capabilities. Starman, Fire, Flight, Bee Mario, Spring Mario, etc., etc., at will, and reactivate them. But if you notice that this is an excessively long code, and you have to remember that Ocarina, without the USB Gecko, cannot handle more than 256 lines of code. So you cannot use the Mario Transformation code with the Skeleton Mario code without the USB Gecko. So we're just going to go ahead and copy down this code. We're going to copy, and we're going to go and create a new code, and it's going to be Skeleton Mario, and we're going to select it, and you'll notice that in the code comment and category it'll automatically put that in. We're going to right click and paste, or Control C, Control V. Pretty painless, copy and paste. You can put in a unique comment if you'd like. No big deal, not really necessary unless it's a complicated code. And we're going to store the modifications, and it's going to say the data has been stored. So put your SD card that you're going to have in the front panel. I use the same card for my Wii Homebrew than I do for the cheats. And you're going to notice checkboxes on all of your codes. Check the codes that you want activated, remembering 256 lines maximum. Don't overload. And don't mix and match awkward codes. If you put too many codes in, you'll crash the game. You know what? We'll add one more code, which I'll show you exactly crashes the game. We're going to have to do a little... Where is it? Where is it? It is Mario's speed. Alright, Mario speed modifier. And if you notice, this code has 4 X's in it. And down here we have values for which codes can be used, or what values. So actually I'm going to use 403F for the fastest one. We're going to copy this, and we're going to create a new code. Mario speed, and we're going to go ahead and paste, and this time I'm actually going to put in the comments. We're going to copy that out to the comments, and we're going to take that one line that had those X's in it, and we're going to make that the 3X multiplier. 403F. And we're going to store modifications. Data is stored, and notice there's another checkbox. We're going to select this. So now Mario will move 3 times as fast. File. And we're going to export to GCT. And it's going to say, do you want to save all these changes? Yes. And point this to your SD card. Like I said, same SD card that I use for my Wii Homebrew. And it's going to store it to E codes, and then the title of the game, RMGE01.GCT, and we're going to click OK. Now I'm going to take this card out, pop it in my Wii, we'll load up Gecko OS, which has Ocarina built in, or you can go ahead and use Ocarina yourself, whichever floats your boat, and we're going to go and apply these hacks and codes and see what happens. Alright, went ahead, Homebrew channel, boot up Ocarina. I'm not going to go and showcase Gecko OS, we'll do that for another day. And it'll bring up some text, and it'll say press A on the Wii Remote. It'll boot up the game, it'll search for cheat codes, and apply them if they're found. So, looking for codes, blah blah blah, code found, applying the code list, boots the game, and takes forever to play. I swear to God, I hate these load times to these games. They drive me absolutely insane. And all of this is done completely without using the actual USB Gecko. So we've got Mario Galaxy going. Load up any file, doesn't matter as long as the codes are actually prepped properly. It really doesn't matter which file you're playing with. And And if you notice, Mario's speed is 3 times normal. And according to the README of the actual instructions, if I press the plus button, Mario will turn into a skeleton. And there he goes. Skeleton Mario. And this is the preliminary, you know, Jesus Christ, he's like a hamster on crack. I don't want to talk to you. Go away. Shut up. Although this skeleton hack is pretty morbid, I like this a lot. Even when you're flying, you're a skeleton. How cool is that? Well, anyway, this is the Ocarina code handling system for the Wii. Remember, don't use these codes to cheat your ass off on online games. That's not cool. I hope you learned something. Maybe this will get you interested in doing some kind of code hacking whatsoever for the actual Wii without using USB Gecko. So, that's it. Have fun, everyone.
Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about something called metadata. You may or may not have heard of it before. An example of metadata would be an ID3 tag for MP3s. Basically, metadata is just information that's embedded in a file about that certain file. Like I said, in MP3s you have ID3 tags, but what I'm going to be discussing today is image metadata. What a lot of people don't know is when you take a picture with your camera, it actually embeds a whole shitload of information in the picture that you wouldn't even notice was there normally. If you hop over to the computer right now, I'm going to show you. I got a picture on the desktop here. It's just a picture of my rabbit or whatever, as you can see. But if you right click and go to Properties and then go to Summary, now it tells you the width in pixels, the height, the horizontal resolution, vertical resolution, bit depth, frame count, equipment make, camera model, color resolution, shutter speed, lens aperture, flash mode, focal length, all kinds of information. A lot of cameras, more high-end cameras will have more information than mine. I have a cheap Kodak EasyShare camera, but it does the job. Some cameras actually have a GPS built into them, especially a lot of cell phone cameras, so it'll actually put the GPS coordinates in it. Another thing is a lot of times they embed the serial number of the camera into the metadata of the picture. That can't be good. For example, Best Buy and a lot of other companies, when you buy a camera from them and you pay with a credit card, they link the serial number of that camera to your credit card or to your actual name and everything. So if you're taking pictures that you shouldn't, like all you kids out there that, you underage kids that like to snap pictures of your girlfriends and not so appropriate poses to prove how cool you are, well, now you're a pedophile and you're posting your information on the internet, and they can and they will trace you. Don't say we didn't warn you. It's not just images that you download. Like I said, if you look back over on the laptop again, I'll load up a Picasa image. This is from Fox's Picasa page because I don't have one. And if you just click the more info on the side, it shows you a lot of the metadata information. There's a story that Fox was telling me about. Hopefully I can find the link to it and post it in the show notes afterwards. But apparently one of the guys working on the new Harry Potter book or movie or something, I don't remember the exact story, so like I said, I'll try and find the link, or I'll get Fox to post this, what he remembers of this story in the show notes. But one of the guys working with the Harry Potter book took some pictures of the artwork and posted them on the internet. He thought he was big shit, going to be elite scene whore, had the first pictures of the book, whatever. And he forgot about the metadata, and they actually traced it back to him, and they were able to find him, and I believe they threw him in jail. Now you're probably wondering, well, what can I do to protect myself from this? I like posting pictures up to the internet, but I don't want people being able to trace them back to me. The easiest thing to do is just edit the picture, run it through Photoshop or any other kind of image editing software, and it'll either completely erase the metadata, or you can punch in whatever values you want. I mean, you can punch in the location and what time of year it was and what you were doing and how hard your dick was at the time and whatever other kind of information you want in there. So I hope this helps educate you, and I probably forgot shit, so check the show notes. But if you don't listen to us, you were warned.
Okay, today we're going to be doing a product review. In this case, we're going to be doing a review of the Maglite LED upgrade module for 3-cell Maglites. As you can see right here, it is a 3-watt LED, and here is the actual LED right here. We're going to be taking this and installing it into a standard 3-cell, 3D cell Maglite, and I happen to have 2 of them. So one of them we will leave stock, one of them we will do an upgrade to, and then we will compare the results between the 2 to see which one is actually better. So the first thing that we're going to do is cut this open and get this free. Okay, here is the unit actually removed from the package. Here we have the light itself. It just fits as an insert exactly the way that you would put in the standard light that goes with the Maglite. It's just a bulb replacement kit. And then it's got a quick set of instructions here, which are basically unscrew the end of the Maglite, unscrew the bulb holder, take the bulb out, replace the bulb here, put this in place of the existing bulb, and then just screw it all back together. So that's going to be the next step that we do. Okay, I have here a pair of 3 D-cell battery Maglites. I'm going to actually upgrade the blue one. I'm going to leave the black one on stock. Right now they are both on stock, and if I had them both focused the same, get them focused about the same, your 2 dots pretty well equal intensities, just so, you know, move them around here. Pretty well equal intensities. So these 2 flashlights are, we'll just say that they are identical for the purpose of this review. And really, they are close enough. There probably is some difference in them, but I lack the equipment to be able to measure what the difference really is. So we will use the blue one, and we are going to do an upgrade to it. First thing that you want to do, as the package said, unscrew this end. Once you've got the end off, inside, let's see here, I don't know how well I can get that in frame. It doesn't want to focus very well, does it? Well, in here there is another little screw-off piece that actually holds the bulb down, and that's what we're going to take out. So, and it comes out with the bulb, and there's that collar that screws down and holds the bulb, and there's the existing bulb. Now we're left with just the chamber. I'm going to take the existing LED, or the new LED, drop it in there. I'm going to do a quick test just to make sure it works. Oh, it does work. Definitely works. Then take the collar, screw the collar on, tighten that down, and then you just take this, put it back over, and screw it all the way back down again. And that's all there is to it. Extremely simple to do. And I'm going to set that bulb off to the side. Okay, so now I have my new LED flashlight. Let's see if I can pinpoint a dot there. That looks pretty bright. Let me go ahead and grab my other flashlight. Oh, well, I can't tell for sure because they're different colors, but it really does look like this one is a brighter light to me than this one. So I'm going to go ahead and wait until it gets dark, and then I will shut the lights off in here and film each different one. I'm also going to compare against this flashlight, which is just a cheapie that I bought from Rural King. I think it cost $5, and it's just another LED flashlight. It has, how many is that? It has 9 LEDs on it, and only takes 3 AAA batteries to power, and it works fairly well. So I will compare these 3 flashlights and see which one, well, see how they do. I'm going to say right now, for the money, this is a really good flashlight. Like I said, it only cost me $5. It's pretty bright, does a pretty good job. But being a much bigger fan of mag lights, we're going to see which one of these two makes the better light now. Okay, so here I am in my kitchen. I've waited till dark, and I'm shining the small LED flashlight that I showed earlier. Just shining it on the wall. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a traditional, just regular stock incandescent mag light. Okay, now as you can see, that's pretty decent brightness there. I'm going to shine on the ceiling here. Well, it doesn't show up. Pretty decent brightness off of that one. Now we're going to fire up our LED mag light. Let me get these adjusted to where they're about the same. Okay, well there's the picture from our LED mag light. Here's our other mag light. You know, I'm going to be honest in that the color difference, I can't really tell which one is brighter. The LED one is definitely a lot more white, almost to a little bit of a, well, it's got that nice surgical white fluorescent look to it. This one's got their kind of that yellowy glow to it. All in all, I can't really tell with this test which one of these is actually brighter. They're both pretty bright. They both do a pretty good job. So I'm going to go ahead and go outside and do some additional testing. Unfortunately, whenever I do go outside and do the additional testing, you're not going to be able to see it because my camera is not that good. It won't do the distance like what I'm going to do. What I'm basically going to do is spotlight some trees a little ways away and see how well it works for a distance light. Okay, I've been outside and I have tested both of these flashlights. Remember, the blue one is the one we did the upgrade to. The black one is the one that has the normal bulb in it. And I enlisted the aid of my neighbor to ask him which light he thought was better. I also had my opinion, and we both think that the blue one with the LED upgrade was a drastic improvement for seeing distances than the black one. The difference really was, it seemed like this one was so bright, and was so bright all around any place the light reached, it kind of messed with your night vision a little bit so that you didn't see as well not where this was shining. Whereas this one didn't jack with your night vision as much, and so you could see a little bit more on your peripheral than what you were seeing with the blue one. But other than that, both of us really like the blue one, and if you have an existing mag light and you were thinking about the upgrade and you can afford the upgrade, I would definitely go for it. I think you'll be pretty happy with it. If you are not looking to spend that much money right now, then don't, because you know it's still a mag light, still good light, still can see pretty good ways with it. You can still focus it. Everything's still great. I mean, it is still this. But if you do have the money, I would say go ahead and do the upgrade. If you're looking at buying a new one and you can afford it, I would say go for the LED one. At some point, I think I'm going to go ahead and get a hold of the smaller LEDs, the AA powered flashlights, and do a comparison between those as well so that we have a baseline for those. And I will publish this review same place I'm publishing this review. So as far as I can say, love mag lights. Get the LED kit if you can afford it. I think you'll be happy with it.
Well, obviously in this segment we are going to get into parabolas. Now before we begin, we have to understand what is a parabola and what is not a parabola. A parabola, in radio anyway, is defined as an arc or a curve that reflection will come to a common focal point. So with this dish, if you've paid attention to the series, you'll clearly understand that radio waves will reflect off of metal surfaces. So here we have a very common to find 14-inch satellite TV dish. You can get these off of Craigslist practically around the world for free. You can find them in the garbage, or if you hate your neighbors, just rip it off the side of their house. I have a stockpile in my lab. We'll get into that later. Now, because metal reflects radio waves, and that is the fundamental reason why parabolas give us gain. The radio waves are going to hit the parabola, and because of this actual arc, what it's going to do is it's going to reflect off to a common point right here to this device right here. This device is called the LNB, or the low noise block. This device does not receive Wi-Fi. Its only function is to serve for measurement reasons so we know where the focal point is. Now, if you did procure a satellite dish and you do not have an LNB, it really does not matter. Most of the time, for most small-scale satellite dishes, this would be a small dish, believe it or not, it is typically 5 inches up, 4 inches in at a 60-degree angle. That is the common for most 14 to 18-inch satellite dishes. Now, we'll get into different types of satellite dishes as we go through this segment and their benefits and their drawbacks, but before we even begin this, I want to get into something, okay? A lot of people have been scouring their kitchen and following really weak instructions on the internet on how to put together homemade parabolas, and to tell you the truth, you morons will believe anything anyone fucking tells you. And you should do your own research before you actually build anything. If you've been paying attention to the series, you have a clear understanding that you need the proper coax, you need the proper connectors, you need the proper cards, and you need the proper materials. Now, some people have been using these little strainers as parabolic reflectors, and they'll go and take a USB Wi-Fi card, and you might get a couple of decibels gain. You know what? It's really not a true parabola. Don't bother. Don't waste your fucking time. Fuck it. Okay? Some people have used woks or other forms of kitchen pans. You know what? These are not parabolas. If you've gone and tried this and failed, now you know why. There is no focal point. It's just a reflector. This will probably do more harm than good to your radio signals. Don't use pots, pans, and other things. Use a true parabola. Okay? I've seen people go as far as using actual umbrellas themselves, lined with metal foil on the inside, as parabolas. Listen, jackass, this is not a parabola. Quit being cheap, stingy bitch. Get a freaking satellite dish. Okay? No one ever said that this is going to be cheap. No one ever said that this is going to be easy. But hopefully by going through this segment, you've learned a couple of things about Wi-Fi in itself. So maybe you are a cheap, stingy son of a bitch who didn't want to pay more than $8 for a crappy Wi-Fi card that has no compatibility across any operating system whatsoever, and chances being it won't even work with NetStumbler, which is, for the next segment, why your cards aren't working with NetStumbler. But anyway, so you got this crap $8 card, and that's all you really want to spend for it. You know what? Here is an actual parabola. It's the Windsurfer printable template. Okay, I'll put a link to it. You know what? It works. Why does it work? Because it's a real parabola. What you do is you literally print out this template and you put it on some kind of material. Typically, an old cereal box will work just fine. There's a rectangle here that you actually line with metal foil that becomes your parabola, and the circle area will actually fold your actual flat into a parabola. I decided to put mine on some plastic because it's a little bit more sturdy than cereal box cardboard. You can literally make this out of a cereal box and tinfoil, and you will get close to 8 decibels of gain. And when you're done, it will look something like this. You'll have a metal reflective on one side. The side does not matter. And you just stick your little rubber duck through your USB Wi-Fi adapter. This does actually work. I have them on my home routers. The problem with this is they're flimsy and they're destroyed really easily. But, you know, not too many people can actually fit a 14 to 18-inch satellite dish in their luggage when they go on vacation. I know I bring one, Mustang will bring one, and I know Ugster does. But not everyone are willing to go and tie their siblings and their significant bothers to the roof in sacrifice to bring a satellite dish with them. So, this is the basics of a parabola. Now, the easiest thing, if you are a cheap, stingy son of a bitch who doesn't want to spend more than $8 for any of your stuff, you got your hands on a parabola. Hopefully you've either ripped it off the side of your neighbor's house because you don't like them, or someone gave it to you, you found it. I don't care how you got it, you've got it. You've got either an original LNB, or you have to recreate some kind of structure to stick your card onto. Wood would be the best idea because you can cut it easily with a saw and it's non-metallic. It won't absorb or really affect the radio waves. You take your card and you affix it right to the focal point. That's the easiest thing you can do to get a relatively decent gain antenna without doing any kind of soldering or any kind of modding. Granted, if you're going to use a USB card, USB cables shouldn't really be run more than 25 feet without a repeater. That's here nor there. Figure that out the hard way. Now, the thing about these parabolas is people think that the radio waves come straight on over here. That's actually completely false. Typically, they need to be tilted down about 60 degrees. So the LNB and the actual arm itself will be practically facing as such. And the radio waves will actually come from here and reflect. So a lot of people will just put the dishes pointing straight, figuring that the radio waves have to come from directly on and reflect back. That's not true. this actually has a very wide, what's called a beam width, or how wide it can actually see. So you have to adjust the actual dish depending on what type of dish it is. Now, I've got NetStumbler going. I've got my little pentenna that I made in the first Wi-Fi antenna segment, because unfortunately, like I said, all of my USB cards have been either destroyed or otherwise modified in episode, I believe, 19. So this is pretty much the closest thing to any kind of dipole we're going to get, or anything stock. So I'm going to go ahead and fix this. We're going to get NetStumbler, and we're going to use the dish, and we're going to see if we can tune into a couple of access points in the neighborhood. Alright, you know what? Before we actually start playing with the dish, let's go and we'll take the little pentenna that I made in the first dipole segment. We got NetStumbler going. We're picking up about 12 access points, some of them pretty piss poor because we're in a completely enclosed brick home right now. And we're going to go and take the windsurfer and just try to gently put this together, because you got to remember this thing is pretty fragile. And we're going to actually go ahead and take a look at an SSID that it is actually in an apartment building. Right behind me is a brick wall that's metal lined with metal mesh, and behind that is a metal fence, and behind that metal fence, about 25 feet away, is an apartment building, and that apartment building has this current access point about 5 floors up. So you could imagine how hard it would be for this little pentenna to get any kind of signal. And just by reflecting it around, if you notice I'm angling it up at the actual apartment building, we could try to figure out what kind of gain it's getting. And as the Windsurfer website actually claims, you get about, you know, anywhere from 5 to 8, and if you're lucky, you know, 10 to 12 decibels of gain. That's almost as good as a biquad. But unfortunately, its little flimsy design, it's not going to really weather too well. Just to show you that even when you point it away, the signal just bombs out completely. Now, something I have noticed with NetStumbler, which I'll get into the next episode, sometimes NetStumbler does not report your signal strengths accurately. We'll get into that next episode. But anyway, here's our little dish. You know, we'll go and tune into my actual access point, MCP, and we'll try to point this in the general direction and where it's coming from. But unfortunately, I've got a lot of noise, as well as many other access points that I have to chew through to get to it. But for the most part, this is the Windsurfer. So you know what? We'll go back to this access point up here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. And here's our LNB from the satellite dish. I'm going to take the pentenna, and I got some tape, just regular household packing tape, nothing special. Just tape it on. Give the dish a nice old reach around. Get that locking screw back in place. And we're going to try to take this dish, and we're going to see if we can focus. Now, right now, we're pulling pretty much no signal. NetStumbler says that we're pulling probably about 85 decibel loss here, but I'm pretty sure that it's just completely flatlined. If you notice, NetStumbler is just completely flat out. So this dish is going to make a lot of noises while I adjust it, unfortunately. And we'll see if we can figure out the actual focal point. Where are you? There we go. And we'll slowly adjust this just a little bit at a time. See if we can figure out where this... Well, actually, I know where it's coming from. It's coming from about 5 floors up. And there we go. That's the kind of gain that I'm looking at. I've gotten close to about 65 decibel loss on this, compared to a stock rubber duck, which would be close to about 95 decibel loss. So even just one of these small 14-inch satellite dishes can give you close to 20 decibels of gain. And what did we do to get this kind of gain? We just taped the card to the LNB, right to the focal point. And this has got to be the absolute cheapest way to get any kind of decent gain out of a low-cost Wi-Fi solution. But you know what? We've made a couple of really nice high-gain antennas on the show. We've made the Bluetooth waveguide, which will support us anywhere from 5 to 12 decibels of gain, depending on how you design it. And we've also got the biquad, my favorite of all antennas, which has support close to 12 decibels of gain, but on average 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to go and hook this up to where the LNB is supposed to go, and we'll see what kind of gain we can get out of this one. Alright, I've got the bi-quad attached. I just quite literally used 90-degree angle mounting brackets. Now I did have to bend a couple of them using a pair of pliers to get that nice 60-degree angle of attack that's required for this type of dish. And we have got 19 active access points. And if I actually get this at that proper low angle that it really wants, we could probably pick up more. Now remember, I want to go and try to get an access point that's probably 50 feet up and a couple of 100 feet in. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can tune in this with the bi-quad and see what we can get. Now, unfortunately, I might not be able to get the exact angle of attack because of the way the mounting hardware is on this, but I can assure you that I've gotten some pretty significant gain with this setup. Now, I don't want to spend too much time here fiddling around looking for access points, and if we go back to my actual access point, you'll notice that it's completely dead. Reason being is my access point's way off behind this. You gotta be literally right in front of this. In fact, you should have a couple of, where the hell is this bro don't tase me coming from? I mean, really, this is a new one that just popped up in the neighborhood, and I have absolutely no idea where it's coming from. But with the bi-quad, you could probably get close to 25 to 30 decibel gain with this if you're lucky. Now right now I'm using LMR 195 coax about 5 feet, which is a multiple wavelength of 2.4 gigahertz. Now if you do actually have the ability to build or otherwise buy one of these bi-quads, this setup can actually be pretty devastating to your neighbors. It's just one of those things where it makes me laugh maniacally from time to time, because right now, like I said, we're inside of an actual brick home. We're inside of a radio shithole. We're inside of an attenuator. Radio signals do not come into this house. They also don't leave this house. And the fact that we're chewing through brick walls, and we've got 23 active access points right now, just with this setup, and I'm not even pointing it in the right fucking direction. So, but you know what? My mom always said, bigger is better, so that's why I go after fat chicks and black guys. So, let's get bigger, shall we? Yeah. Okay. You know what? Sometimes I actually forget how crazy I am until I actually take a step back and look at what the fuck I'm doing. There's absolutely no way I can actually get on frame with this fucking dish. It is about 4 feet wide and probably about 2.5, 3 feet tall. There's absolutely no way I can actually angle this to get a proper focal point, unless I go outside with a very huge tripod, which I can't do. But either way, you can actually see what kind of amassment of signal that we have with these different access points. I mean, just for fuck's sake, look, let's just see if we can just pan this around. See if we can get this access point that's all the way up there. See, right now, unfortunately, I'm using the completely wrong mount for this, so this is providing me with quite a bit of difficulty. But let's see if we can get a different. Where the hell is this bro don't tase me come from? That's really driving me nuts. Ah, there we go. See, unfortunately what Mom didn't tell me about bigger is better is bigger also weighs a whole fuckload more. Also hurts a hell of a lot more when it lands on you. So, with this satellite dish, I have quite clearly chewed through dozens, multiple dozens of access points. You can also just take the stock LNB, which I have on my couch and I can't show you, but I mean, same principle applies. You just go and take your USB Wi-Fi stick and attach it. If you want, you go ahead, use a bi-quad. You get a lot more gain out of it that way. Still picking up 24 access points, but I'm pretty sure that they'd all, I mean, this one's connectable. Airsoft is completely dead. Big Daddy, dead. Bosnia Net, I'm pretty sure that that's bombed out. Christina, that's a new one from the neighborhood. Matter of fact, where's that one from? I swear to God, that sounds like something out of Jurassic Park. Orcas off the shore of New York City are going to be wondering what the fuck's going on. Default, no, that's bottomed out. Diana, Ukraine, bombed out. Gamer, bombed out. I don't know who this one is. Koshtakon? That one might be connectable. Linksys, you're bombed out. Master, you're completely in the red. And, yep, wonderful new glitch with NetStumbler. But either way, this is just to go to show some of the basic parabolas. I've actually got one more. I'm not going to actually hook it up. I'll just show it to you. And it's called the Super Dish. Alright, here's the Super Dish. In fact, if I talk into the Super Dish, my voice will probably reflect off of it more accurately towards the microphone of the camera than it would if I would just speak directly towards it. This is a 3-foot round dish, and as you can see, it's pretty big. These are actually pretty old-fashioned. They're kind of hard to come by. The easiest ones to get are the... Oh my god, how many fucking dishes do I have here? I can't even find them under these 3-foot ones. The easiest ones to get are these little 14-inch guys. Of course, they're not going to give you as much gain as the larger breeds, but these are a lot easier to work with. They're a lot easier to get your hands on. So, also remember that whenever radio waves reflect, they inverse their polarization 90 degrees. So you might have to change the orientation. Although you have a vertically polarized antenna and a vertically polarized access point, because it's reflecting off of this dish, it's going to shift phase 90 degrees, and thus should your antenna. And that is actually one of the things I compensated for with my biquad antennas. So this concludes the segment. Parabolas. They're relatively inexpensive, if not free, very easy to get up to, if not exceeding 20 decibels of gain. And if you can get your hands on one, fuck with it, for the love of God. Alright, I've had an amassment of 3-foot satellite dishes in my living room for a week. I'm ending this segment and I'm going to hate you all because of this. Fuck off.